Good evening, everyone. It is 6:30 PM. Today is December 18th, 2025. And we are getting ready to hold our regular city council meeting for the month of December. We are located here in the council chambers at Kermit City Hall. If y'all don't mind, we'll stand and do our pledge of allegiance and the flags and Councilor Hayes can lead us in the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Let us all pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with us tonight. Lead, guide, and direct us through our meeting, that decisions made will be for the betterment of our city, as well as for the benefit of our residents. We ask that you bless the season that we are entering upon. You are the reason for the season. I wish and we ask for good health and all during the season. We ask that you bless everyone here tonight and grant any traveling mercies necessary to anyone that is traveling. We ask all of these things in your most blessed name. Amen.
Thanks, sir. We'll make a real quick detour on our agenda. I know normally we save your remarks, but I want to start with wishing our fire chief happy birthday. If everybody could wish Chief Pineda happy birthday. Big Patriot sneaks out later. I got it in. All right. Thank y'all. Okay, so first thing, item number 4 is public comments. Is Mr. Chris Isbell here? Chris, if you don't mind coming on up. Good, thanks, sir.
Took delivery, get all a short handout. I've got a lot more literature if any of y'all want it, but this is just a quick, what the surrounding areas are doing, and then you basically a short one pager on your advantages of changing the fees. I did find that in the past 3 months traveling, there's food trailers that travel. There's whole communities that will go through and they look for areas that are advantageous for them to come, so. And they'll stay a month, 2 months, 3 months. They pay for the year so they can come back sporadically in between. I mean, I've even seen a Taco Bell truck. So if we can get these fees to where they're not $500 every 2 months, which is crippling for a startup, it'd be a lot better on Kermit. We'd be able to actually have more people, small businesses here in the food service.
To Mike?
It's part of the conversation, so we can have a discussion on this.
So what is our annual fee?
It's a $500 fee every 2 months. We also have a 1-day fee, which is $75 for a 1-day fee. That was changed last year by the council. Currently, the fee that we had a weekend fee, which is like what, $250 for 3 day. The council ended up changing that to allow for a 1-day fee of $75.
So that's no longer in effect, $250 for 3 days.
And no, it's just the $75 for going in. Yeah, we don't have any 3-day festivals going on. The longest one we have, of course, is Kermit Celebration Days, which is 2 days.
The city of Monahans has basically done away with the food vendor fee. And basically, you just gotta have permission from your landowner and make sure that you have insurance and your health state inspection. Our surrounding communities, the county charges $100 for 6 months. Wing charges $100 for 6 months. It'd be really nice if the city of Kermit would just adopt that policy. It'd make it the same all throughout the county.
I had the liberty of actually calling some of these to confirm. This does confirm, the only one that's not added to this is Pecos. Pecos does charge, 3,025 per year if you own your property. Plus they have a strict stipulations of what is required and 3,000 a year per, if you're renting. But other than that, Monahans, I did call them and confirm they do rely on the state health permit and tax rules. And Odessa's 300 a year. I just feel like we've had a lot of conversations on it, but I don't think we've actually had any action. So I would like it to be set on our agenda. It's okay.
For next month.
For next month.
Thanks, sir.
So the point of clarification, we're looking at having a discussion item.
Yeah, discussion for next month.
So it will be on the agenda, on January's agenda for discussion on possible rate change for the permits.
Possible
Okay,
changes and, or
okay.
Alrighty, moving on, executive session. I don't have anything for that. Oh, I'm sorry. You weren't on the public comment post, so I didn't see you there.
I didn't think I had to be to make a public
Well, you
comment.
don't have to, but I didn't see you on the agenda. Would you please bless us myself?
Certainly. Okay, as you guys know, people, for some reason, kind of levitate towards me and make comments and statements. And one that has been made repeatedly to me regarding these meetings is that you're putting the executive session almost at the beginning of the agenda, rather than at the end where they have always been. This is a great inconvenience to a lot of people because sometimes you're in there for 2, sometimes even 3 hours. And then these people don't want to sit here 2 and 3 hours waiting for you to get through and come back out and make a decision. And my comment would be, if you would just consider the possibility of maybe putting your executive sessions at the end of the agenda like they used to be. And that might, since we're having more people attend meetings, that might make it even better for others as well. On the other hand, something else, nothing to do with that, my ESL classes are interrupted for the time being for the holidays. We start back up on the 5th of January with testing. Our students are doing great. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else, I'm sorry, from the public? Okay, we'll move on to executive session, which we have nothing, Mike, correct?
That's correct.
So 4, 5, and 6, we can move past. Public hearing. Council will accept public comments on the following capital projects that are currently being considered. It's the proposed construction of Vest Park, the proposed construction of a new city hall and public safety / fire station. C, the proposed construction of a new solid waste transfer station, and also the proposed replacement of our aging water lines. So, Mike, if you don't mind, we'll start out with Vest Park, give a brief highlight, and then see if we have any public or council comments.
Yes, Mayor Council, of course, we've been in discussion about Vest Park for probably near a year, I believe. After we obtained the property from the Kermit ISD, we've now gone through some various renditions of what a Vest Park could look like. We do have some drawings out here of kind of where we have settled. For those that are interested, we do have Ray Carrasco with Kimley Horn. Kimley Horn was awarded the bid to design a park. So I believe right now that the predicted cost on the park for Vest Park, it's approximately 10 acres. It's about 11.5 million is what we're looking at. So I'm available to answer any questions, or as I mentioned, Ray is here also. We'll answer any questions that you may have on the park.
Ray, was the construction timeline about 18 months, if I remember right, from start to finish, something like that?
Yes, we were looking at starting anticipated summer 2026. I think it was 18 months,
Was that much?
18 months.
18 months. That's what I'm saying.
Sooner.
Depending on everything.
Yeah.
Y'all, I know something was said one time in discussion, something about the 18, the timeframe, but there could be, if weather, it caused, a week's delay for some reason or something,
Yeah.
that it could extend it somewhat, but nothing that would be dramatic.
Right. I think that there's a built-in kind of contingency from a weather standpoint of what it would look like. They're still projecting about 18 months. And I think Ray's right. I mean, we would probably hope this gonna be probably closer to 15 months, which puts it probably about the summer of 27, depending on when the project begins. So if, but yeah, we're probably looking at the summer of 27. Hopefully we have it done by that time.
And just for the room, in case they want to ask any questions, it included tennis courts, water splash pad, a small,
It included, so the playground area was about 0.27 acres. And it had a splash pad that was about 4,600 square feet. And it had a tennis court, a pickleball court, basketball, volleyball, soccer, and baseball.
I believe we removed the baseball. It's now just a green space.
Yeah, that's correct. Where the old ball field was, that's gonna get removed and just be grassy area.
It'll also have a place, amazingly enough, for food vendors that we will be able to sit there. That way, if anybody wants to come in, if there's an event at the park, food vendors can be invited to come in, and there'll be an area for meals. There's gonna be kind of a berm between the, which would be the tennis courts, the water splash pad, and also the playground for people to sit on a berm if they would so choose. The trail. There's also a trail, little 1 mile trail, I believe, that goes around the field. I'm sorry, the park. There is a covered basketball court also, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
plus it's an open basketball court.
Yes.
Are there like electrical hookups for the vendors?
It'll be located
Yes,
right where the
be,
bank will be.
accessible, I
There'll
mean,
be some pedestals set up there.
and there's 2 restroom facilities, right?
You're right.
But when the 2 restrooms, we added one
Correct. We added one, which will be on the west end,
west end of the
closer
park.
to the sheriff's department. We'll add another bathroom over there.
Would the food trucks be able to set up and like if they wanted to maybe sell to neighbors or only when we have events?
No, they could set up at any time. They would probably just have to work through the city because we'd have to turn the electricity on and off or be able to have access to electricity.
So the timing is just right for this food permit fees.
Yeah.
One question for Ray. Now, did we discuss grant? Are you helping us with grant finding or no?
Yes, we were gonna look into the possibility, because the parks master plan, having that in place allows you to apply for grants. That provides that avenue for that.
Oh, you had said that, but I wasn't sure.
And that was why it was imperative to get the master park plan done and completed so that we can start now applying for grants. Now, granted, we don't have to have a master park plan to apply for grants, but in every grant that I've seen, there is a question about, does the city have a master park plan? If we say no, then we lose points. At least now we can say yes, which I believe in most grants is like 10 points.
in the grant funding, if it was approved, it came in, would just offset the bond amount. Right, we're still gonna issue, if it passes, still issue a bond amount for X amount, and then it would just deduct off the grant funding.
We would use
once
that
it's
to
approved.
offset.
Cause I know that comes into place in some other things we're talking about here today, so.
I do have a couple.
Yes, sir.
It's public, right?
Yeah.
Do I need to stand up?
Yeah.
If I get stuck to the chair.
This hope will help.
Huge. One of my comments are, I live near the park and I have a couple of neighbors that approach me about it since I go to work every morning. They see me and they approach me. They've heard about the park construction and they're excited about it, but they do have a couple concerns.
Okay.
One is noise, which obviously this park is being really reconstructed to have a lot more people and activity. A lot of the residents, especially on Monroe, they're right against the park. And so they're worried that the noise is gonna be overbearing to them, especially if we're gonna have food trucks and vendors and people out there with their vehicles. They're worried about the excessive noise from the park. Majority of excessive noise can be policed by us to a degree, but it is true if there's events going on in the park, there's not much we can do about it unless the park has a plan and design to maybe limit noise coming from the park. Like some parks have amphitheaters specifically to.
That's the word I was looking for a while ago.
The second concern was increased traffic flow. Is that they're worried with the park being there, increasing more people? They're worried it's gonna turn into like East Avenue and kids trying to race. My only thing was, well, of course, if it falls to police, we'll try to police it. But They even brought up maybe considering lowering the speed limit around the area of the park and maybe approaching traffic can be reduced down to a 20-mile-per-hour zone like it is around the county park.
Like that.
But that was the only concerns that they came to me about.
Great.
So I figured I would comment on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment on the West Park before we move on? Okay, the next one is the new city hall and the public safety / fire building or fire station building. Mike, can you give us a brief highlight on that?
Sir. Mayor Council, again, as you know, we purchased the Citibank building downtown with the premise of creating and constructing, actually, I'm sorry, the initial was to remodel. After we got the remodel costs back, I think we looked at, it was probably gonna be better just to construct a new city hall. And so that's the direction that we're currently looking at. Then we began to start discussing what we would do with this building. Two things came out of it. One is that the police department would simply extend out and be able to take over the rest of this building, which right now they're kind of stacked on top of each other. But at least they would now have a place to be able to spread out their police officers. And of course, as you know, we've added some police officers, added some new positions into the police department, so they'll be able to spread out. And then we began to start discussing about the fire department because they currently have vehicles sitting outside because they can't put it inside the base. And so the discussion then began to evolve into just simply extending out this building with pretty much kind of a sheet metal structure to go all the way around and go around, but it'll be primarily for the base. And so now the fire department will be able to place all the vehicles inside the base, large roll-up doors on each side so they can drive through, be facing Tornillo. That's what we're looking at, the base coming out facing that, so we don't have to work with TxDOT about closing off Austin on an emergency. They're still have to figure it out from there when they come out, but it's that whole light structure we have to look at. And then around the corner, we will wrap around where the McGuire building is at. That would be demolished, and we would look at putting a conference room, kitchen, and offices for the fire department. So we would then convert this whole area to a public safety building. In the center, we're looking at having a workout facility for the fire department and also the police department to ensure their health when they're going out and working these calls. And so that's kind of where we're at now with the discussion about the public safety building and the city hall. We've seen, so I believe you've seen some preliminary plans on what a city hall would look like. It would still be a two-floor facility. We would demo the existing Citibank building and what was formerly the Anthony's building. That would all be demolished. And then the city hall would sit in the center with a drive-through on it and a city council chambers that would be actually be on the east side of the building of City Hall. But it would have its own separate entrance so that City Hall is not open when we have council meetings. So that's kind of where we're at with the City Hall building at this point in time.
Any council or public comments on those?
Well, Mr. Mayor, that takes care of my idea of a parking lot before Daddy's.
Kind of shrinks it down.
Doesn't it though?
We'd be willing
I'm saying
to rent parking space to Poor Daddies if we.
I'm not allowed to say nothing. So it will have parking in the front off of Austin and also parking in the back with some landscape buffer area between the street, the parking, landscape area, the building, landscape area, parking again going to the north.
Correct.
It had we've got some drawings that we had out last week, but it's a nice rendition and we'll probably try to mirror that facade with what we do here if possible, but has a balcony area. We'll have an elevator since it's 2-story for ADA compliance. It will be able to house everybody that we need, plus a couple of spare offices as the city potentially grows. The great thing with PD, taking on the challenge of this is we'll be able to utilize this building as well. My thought was to build completely new all the way around, but city manager, assistant city manager, and police department seem to think they can make it work. But we'd like to remind everybody the fire station is 65 years old. Is that what we decided? Somewhere around there, 65, 67 years old. This building, I think, is a little older. Hope, do you remember when you grew up here? Where?
I'm sorry, I can't go that far back. I was still in the wagons.
The wagons, sending that, Pony Express. Huh? But anyway, they're both 60+ years old. So as council kind of discussed in our last meeting, the life of the assets, as we're looking at these bond amounts, take into consideration the life of the assets and things of that nature. So
What was the cost on the new city hall?
I believe that the city hall was looking at about 4.5 to 5 million, and then we anticipated that the public safety extension would be about 3.
Where are we getting the 3 number from? Because we were told 4 last time.
Was it 4?
How
Yeah, I know we had a lot of numbers for it. So it's 4. I know that when I was talking to Ashley, I think he had said 3 to 4. I think I told you 4 because I was looking at the high number.
That's right.
So let's go.
once
Have we seen any plans for that?
I haven't. Now Ashley is off this because of holidays. I did talk to him last week, and he said he would try to get something to us. Didn't know if he could because he's off on vacation, but he tried to see if we could get some time to work on it. And I did not receive anything.
And obviously those numbers will get more firm as we get design models and things of that in place. So that kind of covers B. If nobody from the public has any comments on B, we'll move to C, which is the construction of potential proposed construction of a new solid waste transfer station. Mike, you want to touch on that?
Yes, Mayor Council, we have been discussing the fact that now that we have our 4 brand new sanitation trucks, they are still having to drive back and forth to Odessa. And so it is I think we calculate about a 45-minute drive. And we figured an hour each way because, they can't do like I do and do 75, 80 miles an hour, except for the county sheriff. I just want you to know that. But it still takes them at least an hour. And then when they get there, they're looking at a minimum of 3 hours wait. 30-minute wait, up to about an hour and a half sometimes, depending. So they try to do 2 trips a day. So they're pretty much taking up a whole day traveling back and forth. And if they're making 2 trips, which means that they're not in the alleys. So the conversation piece has been to build a transfer station that we would build. And I can tell you that Caesar and I and Alfredo went to Pecos to look at their transfer station. They have a transfer station. And essentially what happens is that the sanitation trucks will go to a location, they empty their can, and then they go back out into the alley. And what we're looking at is over where CCS is at. While they empty there, we'll have a long haul truck, and then the sanitation, everything they pull out will simply be dumped into the sanitation long haul, and then that would go to Odessa. We're still thinking it's going to take a couple of trips back and forth. However, what that allows for is that our sanitation trucks are no longer going to be on the road going back and forth, so the mileage will be less because they're built pretty much for an alley, not for a street or highway. But that keeps them in the alleys, which means that now they got a lot greater turnaround time. Without actually looking and doing some calculations, I anticipate that we may be able to use 3 trucks now and keep a 4th one as a backup because we're going to be in the alley a lot more now than we currently are, because they'll spend, 5 hours a day traveling back and forth. So now it's 5 hours a day. Right now it's 4 trucks that would be in the alley more now than that would be in the alley more than they are currently. So we're looking at that happening. We currently, they're coming out Saturday and Sunday, and they're going to be doing some geotape boring on Saturday and Sunday to make sure that the soil is fine. There's nothing there. And then so we'll get the results of that and we'll know a little bit more. But at this point in time, we're looking at the solid waste transfer station to be out at CCS. And then we also own some property in that area as well that we're looking at extending out and be able to put that in. And of course, Kimley Horn, Ray Cross with Kimley Horn is here to be answer questions as well.
We're also looking at that lot. That other
Yes.
lot.
So I did reach out to the property owner, and they were gonna take a look at the property itself. They weren't aware that they owned it. But now that they know that they owned it, they said they would get back with me. I did call her last week, and was not able to reach her, so I'll continue to try to reach out and see if we can get some agreement, because that would give us approximately 11 acres total. 10, 11,
Around that much.
around 10 or 11
Because
acres.
it'll close the gap between the two city-owned.
Because we currently have where CCS is at, which is a little over 2 acres, and then we own 4 acres. But the 4 acres that are between there, it would close and we would own that whole property there. If we're able to get, now we could still put it on the 4 acres, but we really were looking to try to put it kind of centered there somewhere and own all that property. At that point in time, what discussion that we've had on the staff side is that we would move the recycle center out there as well. So we would have CCS Recycle Center and the solid waste transfer station, move everything there, and that would free up that property on 302 for us to be able to use or be able to be utilized for some other purpose.
Did y'all talk to Pecos and ask them, how did they fund theirs? Did they get grants or did they
No, they paid for it.
paid for it?
They actually have two, correct?
They have
Two
two.
types.
They have 2 types. Now they also have a landfill. So they do have a type 1 and a type 4 landfill.
Oh,
So so they have some extra there. But they have 2 types of transfer stations. And they're designed a little different. They primarily, I think they like the second one better, but I can tell you this, that they're currently not using the transfer stations. So they built them and they're not using them. I can't remember the purpose for that. They said that they were not using it. What was the reason?
Because they have their own landfill, I think is what
They
they.
have their own landfill. So they chose to not use a transfer station at this point in time. I think they were getting close on their type 4 landfill, and that's the reason they were looking at the transfer station. But they were about to open up a cell on that on the landfill. So. And they're in a different situation because they do have a type 1 and type 4 landfill, while we don't have a landfill at all.
And they're
So-
looking at expanding in a whole new facility.
Yeah, and they're currently building, East Pecos. They were building a new landfill. Oh, it was Chief and I and Alfredo went. Caesar was out. So, and they were looking at, they're in the process of building a new landfill west of Pecos. It was like 11 miles out, I think what they say.
So roughly 5 hours a day per truck right now, times 4 trucks, 20 hours. So you're basically almost saving 2 people being on the road and not in the alleys.
What was the estimated cost on the,
That was about 5 to 7 preliminary.
And like I said, once the geotech stuff's in and kind of get a little bit more design factor, we should have some firmer numbers.
Correct.
Any public comment on that? Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Is that 5 to 7 was he talking about, is that including the trucking from the transfer station to Odessa or?
The daily cost of it?
Yes.
No.
Well, like the truck that's gonna haul it back and forth. Is
We
that-
currently have one new one and
No, we don't have the long haul. We still have to buy the equipment and the long haul. That's just for the construction and permitting of the transfer station.
What we have is the roll offs.
okay, sorry. Okay. Thank you, Chris. Anybody else? Before we move on, and we can always come back and take off any of the 4 also. So nothing else, we'll move on to D, which is the biggest dollar amount, obviously, but it's the proposed replacement of aging water lines within the city. Mike, you want to touch on the study we had done and?
Yeah. Mayor Council, this is by far the largest ticket item that we have. And I think we had shown you some numbers initially to replace all the water lines and the valves within the city of Kermit would run at this point in time approximately $52 million. And that would replace every single line that we have. Now, this is one of those items is pay me now or pay me later. Because the only thing that these lines are doing is just getting older, which means that they're corroding even more. We've gone through the process and we have found and identified that our greatest need is in the 2-inch lines. That seems to be the ones that we replace the most, which are primarily the ones in the alleys. But our 6-inch lines seem to be in fairly good shape for now. But we do have some issues with some 4, some 8s and some 10s, and valves that we need to replace. So, again, this is one of those that if we kind of embark in replacing every single line over a period of time, I would say that the city would probably want to look at having a schedule for replacement of lines over, say, a 10-year period. Because we don't want to be in the alleys replacing every single line, because it would be an absolute mess to have to go through. So we need to plan this out. On the minimum, we're still looking at 2-inch line replacement, which I think has got a price tag, and Tom Curry's here, about 10.5 to 11 million.
Yeah.
That, or did we say 13?
13, but we're working our numbers pretty hard. I think that's pretty conservative.
Okay. So we're still looking at about 11 million to replace just the 2-inch lines. If you remember also the 6-inch lines, which are the ones that we're not having as much problems with, but to replace all the 6-inch lines, which we have a lot more linear feet of that than anything else, was in the neighborhood of about 25 million to replace all the 6-inch lines in town. But it's still a price tag of 52 million in today's dollars. Is anything else? If we wait to do this, then the cost just goes up.
When you said there was like, what was it, some ungodly 600 miles of 2-inch?
Do you have that information, Tom? You remember how many miles we have?
Flabbergasted.
was total.
Total, yeah.
Yeah, total mile.
That's
I don't think it was 600.
The 61,
Yeah, I
62,
think it was about
61, okay.
61 miles of line inside the city.
2-inch was 12 miles.
Yeah, the 2-inch was 12 miles. So,
On this, something for council to consider is doing any of it, doing some of it, doing all of it. And just because if you agree to do all of it, doesn't mean we have to do it. We don't have to issue the bonds immediately. They could, as long as we have that plan broke out and say in 2034, we're gonna do the 6-inch. Just so that there's a plan for councils going ahead, and they can always change that as well. But once your bonds are approved, then we can set that schedule. And it's not like we have to commit to doing them all the first 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
and I will, on the same line, I will just caution the council and also the city to know that if the 2-inch line is the only thing that we tackle at this point in time, that's gonna be a chore in itself. However, it doesn't mean that everything is solved. Until we completely do a complete line replacement, which I think we had figured that the lines over in the west part of town gotta be probably 75 years old. If you move further into town, they're still at least 50. And I can tell you that based on lines that we pull out of the ground, they're all of 50. Because they're corroded out, they're, filled in with just the gunk that normally happens in the water lines. So we're gonna have to tackle that problem no matter what eventually. We have talked about the SJR 4 that was passed in November. That is still going to be out there, but remember that money is not gonna be available until 2029. They're talking about $1 billion over the period of 20 years, which would be 20 billion in this fund. However, I think I've mentioned to you that listening to some experts that were talking about the water issues, they anticipate to fix all the problems in the state of Texas, you need 154 billion. So 20 billion, while it's a lot of money, it's not going to cover everything. And it's going to be extremely competitive for that funding to be able to get those grants on this. We will still go to the Water Development Board and we'll still go down that route. In the event that they're receiving some type of a grant to the Water Development Board, will help us out. Even if they've got low cost interest loans that would be cheaper than the bonds that would be issued from the coupon rate on the bonds, then that would be something that we would probably want to take. Like, we still want to be able to find the path of least resistance and also the path that provides the lower amount of interest costs for the city. And so those are still the things that we would end up doing. However, that's a decision of the council, but there has to be a decision made eventually about what are we going to do about our water lines. It's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. I think I did mention that SJR 4 that passed, that was a supplemental, the joint resolution for SB 7, which is the bill. Half that money of the 20 billion, half of it is for the aging infrastructure, which we're talking about. The other half was creation of new water, whether it's going to be for desalinization of brackish water or salt water, or anything like that. So that's the kind of the creation of new water is what the other half of that's going to be. So the reality is only 10 billion is going to be set aside for the aging infrastructure, not the public one.
And once again, the life of the asset on these, our water lines are now anywhere from 70 years down. And so with the new materials and stuff, I would expect 80 years or more with this being replaced. So something to look forward or look towards. Any public comment on the water lines? Touching real quickly on these, again, the Vest Park, City Hall, and Fire Station Public Safety Building would be based off of property tax. The solid waste transfer would, of course, be a sewer fee.
Sanitation for the solid
Or
waste.
sanitation, I'm sorry. And then the water lines would be a water adjustment. So paying these things forward, the people that are going to gain the most benefit out of them should be carrying some of that cost. So that's kind of a way to look at that financing as well. So
And we had
don't have to.
And we'd had a discussion also, the current $12 that's on the bill for the sewer projects that were done, of using the reserve that's currently there, and also using some of the excess funding that we currently have in our tax pool account, to be able to pay off those bonds, which would essentially wipe away that $12 bill that they have on their current bill, which would then be supplemented by the sanitation bill. And then, of course, we have the water bill beyond that. So we're trying to see if we can offset some of it so it doesn't have such great an impact on the citizens. But those are still some of the costs that we're looking at, and the ability to be able to do some of that and offset in some form or fashion. As was mentioned by Mark Valenzuela, everything that he's currently doing is based on a BBB bond rating. The city does not have a bond rating at this point in time, because of the two bonds that are currently out there were private issuances to a bank, which basically means that there wasn't a bond rating required. The city simply filled out an application and the money was given to the city, and that's where the payment's been made. But we're looking at going out to the bond market and actually getting a bond rating. So everything that he's doing is based on a BBB rating, which is fairly good, fairly introductory for that. I can tell you that I think that we've got some really good financials. We've got some money in the bank. Our audits are coming back fine, and been good the last few years. So we anticipate that BBB is not that far-fetched to be able to obtain.
I have a question on the transfer station. Okay, we're gonna put it out there in the, for the landfill.
CCS.
Will we still have someplace for residents to haul debris?
Yes, so CCS will exist. And so the plan that we have is that the entrance will be moved off of 115, off of now to 313. So that's where the entrance would be at. And so we would have the transfer station that the sanitation trucks will go. CCS will still exist.
Okay.
And then we would move the recycle center out there as well.
Somebody asked me about that, and I told them that, or I couldn't remember us discussing that, so I'm sure we'll still have
Yes, sir.
somewhere that you can drop off when we have a storm and you have send debris.
Yes, sir. So the CCS will still exist.
And it'll be a better, shorter road.
It'll be off of 313, so it is a paved road, yes.
There's also a lot of traffic on 313.
Any less traffic than 115?
Yeah, by the school, going past the school every day with big heavy trucks. It's kind of like Officer Higley said too, the traffic, the noise, it's no matter where we go, there's gonna be something. So we just have to try to make sure that we're out in front of it enough and take things into consideration. In the perfect world, nobody would live around anything, but there wouldn't be a reason to build a park if nobody lived around it, or same thing with the trash. So we just have to be cognizant of that and make sure we make the right decision. So we will not have another public hearing on this until our regular January council meeting. Is that
January
correct?
15th.
January 15th will be our next regular council meeting, and at that time, we'll have to make our decision on whether we're gonna proceed with these and what avenue y'all wanna take with those. Okay. Any public comment on any one of those four real quick before we jump on? I won't cut anybody short. So moving on to item number 8 on the agenda is our consent agenda. It covers the minutes from our previous meetings that are attached, the accounts payable report, and the investment report. And those are all in our packet.
And I have some on the, November 12th minutes. Yes. I think, McGuire is misspelled. McGuire, on the one that's in the fourth line on November the 12th.
Yeah.
G instead of Q.
Uh-huh. It's a G instead of a Q.
Oh, okay.
And on the November 30th, the pledge was led by Mayor Holbrook is spelled wrong.
Thank you.
On the bills, we had, okay, it was TXU for 11/8/39/49, and then the same day, we had it for 11/8/39/45. It was on there twice. I didn't see a void. I mean, there's a 4 cent difference, but I didn't see a void from one to the other. It's about the age day. Yeah, it took me, I guess, on page 8. It's the TXU electric bill 9/17/25, and then the other one just is 1/2. But it was for, I mean, a 4 cent difference, but it was 2 different checks, but I didn't see if one was voided or.
Oh, 160/33/29/84. That's what you're talking about? What are the amounts again?
11,839.49 and 11,839.45. It's on page 8. I figured one was voiding, one might have been a void or something, it just didn't state it. And it was 2 different check numbers.
Yeah, we'd have to do some research and get back with you on that. I can't seem to find it on here on that.
That's right.
Well, it looks like it may be that we paid 2 months. Because the electric bills through 9/17/25 for the first one, and then the next one says October.
That's correct. Yeah, I would have to assume the same thing, that they're 2 totally different electric bills.
Okay.
And these bills have to be for all the lighting and everything.
Oh,
that we
sure,
have.
sure. It was just weird that they were
Pretty balanced.
4 cents off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 4 cents difference. I thought, well, maybe it was just,
Unless we're on average billing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, maybe we're on average monthly billing.
Are we certainly?
But just 6 checks apart and,
Further back, there's a level of hammerheads. That's 8,900, that trash truck.
It was a fence repair.
Yes, it says with their friend. San Antonio trash truck.
That was that's when we had the fence hit out here, wasn't it?
It says, 1010 East San Antonio.
Oh, yes, we hit a fence. Sanitation truck hit a fence.
Without going into deep detail, I think, did we not have a conflict of interest with this company?
With Level Hammerheads? We've never had that issue come up.
I think you had a personal experience and you had a discussion. I think there was a conflict of interest. No?
Well, yeah, I mean, normally have two people or two companies that bid, Level Hammerheads and Monarca. Monarca reports to Julian, and Level Hammerheads is Mondo, which is Caesar's brother. But we always get the bids that come in, whoever comes in at the lowest is what we go with.
And are the bids, when we have, say the fence is knocked down, how do you go about getting the bids? Is it publicized or just, I'm calling this guy? Because-
We call,
So if I recommend the name, somebody that's also a fence builder,
we could start calling them. And the problem we have is that we just don't have a lot of people to call. We had one individual that came in one time and stated that he wanted to give us bids. So we had a fence knocked down. We called him and we never heard back from him. And we still haven't yet to heard back from him. So we do have people that come by and say they do the work, but then when we call them, we don't get anything. These have been the two consistent ones that will always give us a bid. And if there's another, then we would love to have it so we can get that to make sure that we are getting the lowest bid.
Okay, great.
yes.
On this Econo signs, 6 times high intensity signs, where did we get a new sign?
Those are strips. Which one is that one?
It's right above that little hammerhead on the same page. There's nothing numbered on this, is there? Right here.
Oh, right above.
Right above
That's
it,
looking
that's the
right,
fourth
but
one.
that's it.
What was it,
Yes, the
man?
fourth one down. Econo signs, I don't know that either.
Or those are banners for Elf Run or anything like that?
No, we would see those from Errol Opinion. But the econo size, those are the signs that we normally get for, the street signs.
The
We
street
also-
blanks and
Yeah, the
the
street blanks. We also
No.
receive some.
no parking
Yeah.
and with the emblem of the truck and stuff like that.
So we did get some no parking signs.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out, I know the last one that I remember getting is ones we put on Spruce Street. But that is kind of where we get all our blanks from also.
And I know that y'all had put up a bunch of
Sounds over
no
behind.
through trucks. Y'all had put a
With
bunch.
some no through truck traffic. What was the other?
We just put you, the dip behind that man camp on the Sweetwater.
Sweetwater. There's a dip that we put up some signs of.
Some brand new ones that were faded out
Okay.
and stuff.
Any other questions, council, on previous minutes, accounts payable or investment report?
On putting up the lights, is that hot money or?
Yes, so that would be hot money, and the lights were put up by our team. But however, we did rent a boom lift for that, which we got over at Intac. So we did rent that.
Your electronics or electric did something, I can't find it.
Well, now J&R Electric did go out there and have to do some repair on some of the plugs. So we didn't have as much, but we did have some of that happen, but that would have been out of hot money as well.
One more question. So the city paid for the Elf Run shirts. And then we sold them, right? And that money goes to reimburse the city or all to the animal shelter?
The profits of that went to the animal shelter.
Okay.
And so the city, of course, through the hot money, expended that money initially and then received the funds back. And then the difference of that went to the animal shelter,
Okay,
Recreation Animal Shelter, for use there.
okay. Thank you for explaining that.
And just so you know, also for those that are interested, we do have a separate checking account, a completely separate checking account on those events, which is the L Fund. And once we get all the bills, all the sponsorship money, all that's done, then Leanne will go in there, she will clean out and wipe out that account and move that money back over to the general fund for the hot money, and then for the animal shelter.
Did we have an investment report?
You know what, I don't know if we've got one. If not, I'll get it to you. I haven't get it. Did you get one from you?
I just didn't know if I was missing one maybe or.
No, I guess we didn't get one.
If we don't present anything further, I move to approve consent agenda items A and B. Second.
We have a motion and second to approve consent agenda items A and B, which include the minutes from previous meetings and the accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to new business. Item A is to discuss and consider resolution 2519, authorizing an interlocal agreement with Texas Health Benefits for our employee benefit services. Mike, you want to touch on that?
Yes. Mayor Council, as you know, when we had a discussion, I'd let you know that we would be moving away from United Healthcare in our current insurance for employees. They came in and initially told us it was gonna be a 22% increase in premiums. When we did status of negotiating, they got down to 17% increase for employees on their premiums. So I went out and when we were at TML, began a conversation with the Texas Municipal League, the pool, which is Texas Health. They submitted a bid and we decided to go ahead and go with the Texas Health benefit. I can tell you that overall, the employees saw a decrease in their premiums. The city saw a decrease in their premiums as well. The city saw about I believe it was about a 14% decrease in premiums, while employees saw, and just so you know, we do have kind of a PPO plan and then also a high deductible plan the employees can choose from. They can choose employee and spouse, they can choose employee and children, and they can choose employee and family on either one of those plans. Once we did some comparison of that, the lowest decrease we had was on the employee and family, and that was a 16% decrease in premiums for the employee. The greatest decrease that we saw was on the PPO plan for employee and children, and that was a 53% decrease in premiums. So overall, while United Healthcare was looking at a 17% increase in insurance premiums, we moved to Texas Health, and overall, the employees are seeing a decrease in their premiums for dependent coverage, and the city saw a decrease in their premium coverage as well for employees. So this is simply the interlocal agreement because Texas Health is also considered a governmental agency from a state agency standpoint. But so we have to enter into an interlocal agreement with Texas Health, and that's what you have before you, the approval of this interlocal agreement.
The employees seem to be happy with.
They like the fact that they're low premium, yes. The benefits are comparable, they're about the same. There's actually additional benefits that we have on this one here, such as a wellness program. There's also a weight management program. They do have the same mental health that they have, but they also have the ability to do health checkups that will be covered under the plan.
This will go in effect when?
I'm sorry?
And it'll go in and if
It'll begin January 1.
They're in open enrollment now,
We are, open enrollment is closed, I believe,
Yes.
but just completed.
but we just completed open enrollment, yes.
Thank you.
Sarah Lou mentioned that she had several people that had not turned in their stuff. Did everybody get their stuff turned in? Yeah, very good.
She was hounding them to get it in.
Good.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2519. No other questions?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2519, which authorizes an interlocal agreement with Texas Health Benefits and the city of Kermit. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item B is to discuss and consider resolution 2520, which is the denial of Texas New Mexico Power Company's proposed rate increase. Um, we need a lot of explanation from Mike on this, but we're gonna exercise our option to deny their increase.
Yes, sir, that's the recommendation that I'm bringing before you. Texas New Mexico Power filed a rate increase with the Public Utility Commission. The rate increase was essentially going to increase residential rates about 6% in retail. And they were looking at, I believe, a 10.4% return. They were looking at trying to increase their revenues about 34 million a year with this rate increase. And so we're a part of the West Texas municipalities. And we currently have Herrera and Associates as the law firm that represents all of the municipalities. And so the recommendation they have is to deny the current rate request. That lets us go and kind of into an arbitration with TNMP and also working with the Public Utility Commission. Historically, what happens is that the city can go ahead and approve it and then the rates go into effect immediately. If they stand by and not do anything, then the rates go into effect immediately, or we can deny. And so what happens through the denial process is that Herrera and Associates, along with any other attorney firm that represents other cities to negotiate with TNMP, they'll get to the table and they'll start slashing out, no, we're not gonna give you this. We understand you need transmission improvements, those type of things. So they try to drive the rates down as much as possible. And so by denying the rate request, that's essentially what we're doing, is to go in into kind of a negotiation arbitration with TNMP. They will still go before the Public Utility Commission. In the event that we can't come to an agreement, and the Public Utility Commission will negotiate it for us. It could be less than 6, could be thick, could be more than 6. It just depends on what the PUC decides to do and the commissioners. However, if we're able to negotiate, then we go together in a united front saying, we've worked this out and this is what we're asking you to approve as a rate increase. The Public Utility Commission still has to approve the rate increase. It's not just doesn't happen. The Public Utility Commission has to approve it. So go before the 3 commissioners for approval. But what we're asking you today is to deny the rate increase by TNMP that will allow us to go into kind of a negotiation with TNMP to see if we can drive down the cost. I can tell you historically when I've done this, it has been, as an example, the electric company may say, we're going to expand our transmission rate, our transmission lines. You say, okay, that's great. Then they say, oh, by the way, we're going to replace all the furniture in the corporate office. And we say, no, that needs to come off your bottom line, not charged to the retail.
I believe we did this 2 years ago and they came back with a lower rate.
Yeah.
Almost sure.
So it's fairly common for this to happen. We'll go through this. I'm surprised that we didn't go through it last year, but I know that in previous cities, I had to go through this every year.
I'll make a motion on B, item B, on resolution 2025 is to deny Texas New Mexico Power Company proposed rate increase.
Are you a second?
I'll second.
2 seconds? We have a motion in 2 seconds. Pick one. The motion in 2 seconds to approve the resolution 2520, which is denying Texas New Mexico Power's request for electric rate increase. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item C on the agenda is no longer needed. Do we want to talk on why it's not needed, or?
I can briefly. Mayor Council, just so you know, when I was on vacation last week, I had a panic call from 2 of my individuals on the executive team. I will not mention, but they're sitting across from me. They so when the explanation was given to the employees about the rates, the Texas Health, the 2 individuals from Texas Health that came in, explained the rates to the employees and made it sound like the monthly rate that we're being charged was going to be the rate that they had to pay every pay period. And of course, remember, we get paid bi-weekly. And so the employees were completely taken aback at the rates. So when I talked to them, I began to start taking a look. And so I realized that what was happening was that the rate that they gave us was monthly, but we extrapolated, we multiplied by 12, divide by 26 and say, this is the month, this is the pay period amount. And it decreased the amount tremendously. But not knowing that initially, I wanted to make sure that we had something in there in the event that we wanted to be able to cover the employee allowance for some of the dependent coverage. But is no longer needed. As I mentioned during, agenda item A, the rates are actually less than what they were with United Healthcare. And so that is the reason that I've asked the mayor to pull item C and not just even consider it at this point.
Thanks, sir. Okay, and item 10 on the agenda is our administrative, public safety, municipal court reports along with public works reports. As always, we've got the reports in front of us. I'll let y'all kind of review them if you haven't already. And then we have folks here that can answer any questions possibly that we may have.
Earl, you know how much you collected over the year? Like your ballpark? I was just wondering. Don't worry, I just wondered.
I see that you stated that the meter grids were sold in November. What did we get for those?
$10,000.
$10,000. $10,000. Okay, thank you.
It's just part of it.
So we had 2 dog bites in November. Were they random dogs or? You know,
I do. So one was on 312 South D. German Shepherd did a service work that came to do work on the property. I didn't realize the dog was there.
so it was the owners of the house and so on.
Yeah, someone came to do service
Okay.
at their home.
Okay.
He got bit. No citation was issued. The dog was up to par and was vaccinated. And the other one was a minor bite by his puppy. No treatment for medical, and the dog was home quarantined.
Thank you.
Is there that many dogs? I read on Facebook about all these dogs. Are they out there like they say they are? All over the place, they say, but I don't, where we live, I don't.
Yes.
Hope says yes.
Depends on the time of day.
Do what, sir?
Depends on the time of day.
Yeah, there was 3 running down my street I had never seen this morning. And they weren't mine.
I can tell you that, that animal control has done an extremely, a fantastic job compared to where we were at a couple of years ago. And so I think that while there are dogs that are still running around, they may be for different reasons, because they've done a really good job of containing that and then going to the owners and issuing citations, which now is forcing them to fix their fence, keep them locked up, whatever the case may be. So I can tell you that in my just driving around town, I don't see near the number that I used to. And I think that Officer Higley is correct. It depends on the time of day
Right.
that you may see them as well.
Seems like you see more earlier in the morning.
They'll come out in the morning because it's cooler, and when the sun's high inside, all animals hide.
Yep.
So you won't see them in the evening hours.
No, I've noticed it in the morning. That's when I see them.
Can y'all fill us in on the progress of the shelter?
Sure. So we got a call yesterday. They will be bringing the materials for the building on Monday. It will be delivered Monday.
We didn't get a picture or a view of what it's gonna look like, did we? Yeah, we got renderings. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I can get that to you
Yes,
again.
it's,
Yeah, I can get that to you again. So once that,
Was black and white.
so once that, it comes in, then we will start the construction of the, building, which we anticipate is gonna take a month and a half to get it up. And then we still have, of course, construct the offices inside. So again, we're still hoping that by March, we can have the shelter up and running again.
And it's gonna house how many? Did we say?
It's at approximately 75.
75, okay.
We hope to not fill them.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the current temporary shelter full?
No, we have not.
Okay. No, that was a lot of pictures.
Hey, Ms. Cheryl, on the total cases on dockets, almost 8,300. Is that for the year, I'm assuming? At first, it was 8294, and then you cleared some, obviously, and more added, but I'm just wondering if that's year-to-date total, thinking it got it.
Cases on the docket as of the day, November 30th of 8,294.
That's a bunch of dockets. Good job. In your next docket hearing,
It'll be in
January?
January. We're gonna try to start doing 2 dockets a month. It seems to knock out a lot of the tickets.
Have we hired a temper or a part-time person?
We have interviews scheduled after the first.
We have many applicants?
Yeah, we have 3. We had I believe, total of 5 applicants. We have 3 interviews scheduled.
That's after the first year, you say?
Yes, we're scheduled for January 6th.
Council, any other questions or clarifications you would like to see on the administrative reports?
And we got our sweeper, huh?
Not yet.
Ready? Not yet.
It's gonna be
It's temporary, when I get hired, it's temporary.
It's either, when's it gonna be here?
January, he said, he around the 20th to the end of January, it should be. They said as soon as Tenco gets it to their yard, they'll let me know, and it should be a couple of days after that.
Okay.
Once they give it a go through, they check everything themselves again. As they said in the past, there'd be bolts and, things leaking, and so they go through it again and make sure everything is redone before they bring it to the client customers.
Make sure that same delivery driver that brought the last trash truck doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a motion to accept that report?
Make a motion. We
Is that needed?
accept the report.
I don't need it. Not, never mind. No wonder Miss Diana looked at me crazy. All right, been too long. It's been a whole month.
I know, right? We've slept since then, right?
All right, so moving on to item 11, public comments for any items that are not on this agenda. Do we have anybody that would like to speak tonight on anything that was not on the agenda tonight? Okay, moving on to item 12, items from council, city manager, assistant city manager, mayor, any comments? We can start with, assistant city manager Jaime Ramos. You got anything?
We are looking at bringing in the flock system, which is a camera system that we'll be able to set up throughout the area that'll capture traffic on a highway. We'll be able to set up stationary cameras on intersections that we believe will capture, for let's say, example, the shooting that they had that led into our area from the Ector County area. Well, that was all over and we were able to communicate on the radio and find out really what was going on, so we were kind of lost. So this program will allow us to not only be able to see some of the stuff that comes into our area through camera, records it, and we'll also be able to share with like the sheriff's office. We'll be able to share with Ector County, Midland, and other areas that are participating in the same program. We're also looking at, I just want to bring it, I know I mentioned a couple of things earlier about this.
And where will these cameras be put on?
We'll be strategically placing them throughout so that we can capture criminal activity. And
It'll be like a pole mounted, don't give out too much information, but it'll be a pole mounted camera around kind of.
Some of them will be poles, some of them will be readers and whatnot. Yes. I know I had a couple of other things, but I'm bringing that up all the time.
You think about it, just elbow feed your wallet. Mike, you got anything for it?
Yes, Mayor Council, a couple of different things I want to let everybody know about. One of the things that I think that has been a topic of conversation that I want to put back out there again, about a month ago, we had a social media post and also a letter that I put out talking about the street between the high school and the junior high. There was I'm gonna call it a mandate. There was a mandate put down by the federal government about only allowing for safety markings on county and city streets and highways. And so we then ended up, that happened, I believe, in March of 2025. We ended up getting a letter from Governor Abbott as well in June, as well as a follow-up letter from the executive director from TxDOT, stating that that we could only have safety markings on streets. And it jeopardized the federal government mandate that came down today would jeopardize federal funding if they weren't covered. The governor went as far as saying federal and state funding could be in jeopardy. So the letter basically stated that we would be going through and covering the street between the junior high and high school, and also the section off of Poplar on Campbell between Poplar and Oak, which is the football stadium and the Dairy Queen. And we're gonna cover that, put a fog seal. I just want everybody to know that the street sweeper will come out tomorrow. They'll start sweeping the streets, getting them clean. And then on Saturday, they're gonna go through there and they're going to perform what they call a fog seal. So it's gonna be just kind of a black overlay on the street. We'll go back through there and paint the stripes that we need to. However, from that point forward, based on the information that we received from the federal government, from the governor, we will not be able to allow any markings on the streets other than what we place on there, which are pretty much going to be the stop markings and crosswalk markings, and that'll be it, and just the yellow stripes. I know it's caused some issues, and people have been wondering why we're doing this. I will tell you that what I didn't want to happen was to get down 2 or 3 years down the road and apply for a grant, and then we're told no, because you never took care of that problem to begin with. And so it's unfortunate that it has to happen. I've been in contact with the superintendent, Muniz, and made him aware of it, so he's perfectly aware of what is about to happen. And we had a kind of a short discussion about where new markets will be able to take place for the high school seniors. And he stated we'll simply find a place on a parking lot for the schools. We also talked about the street that goes off of Bryan, circles around the baseball stadium over to East as a possibility, because that is simply a school road. It's not a city road. But we do want to make everybody aware that that will take place on Saturday. We did mention that we're going to have it done during the Christmas break. So it'll be done on Saturday, and that will cover it. That gives us time also to come back and paint the yellow stripes that we need to get that finished out. So make everybody aware that's about to happen in case you get some questions also. I will let you know on Friday, of course, tomorrow we do have our employee Christmas party. So if you've not signed up, it's never too late. Feel free to join us, and I think we're gonna have a great time. It's just a time for us to be able to celebrate kind of the season, but also just spend time with the employees and the work that they've done this year. We do have our quarterly meeting, employee quarterly meeting on Thursday, January the 8th, if you're interested in attending that. So it'll be at the Civic Center, as we do, as you know, every quarter I have a meeting with our employees to kind of bring them up to date and let them know what's going on. So that's that date. I'll let you know that our AMI, the meter system, we're about completed. They've had to switch out the project manager that was doing the work. So we actually have a new project manager. He seems to be doing a lot better. What we did find out was that when we went through this process, I think we were looking at about 2,986 meters. Come to find out we have over 3,000 meters. And so we do have that we're working through, but everything seems to be going fine. I know they did some cutting of cement this week, I believe. Is that correct, Greg? Yes. And so we should be getting all that completed fairly soon and getting it done. The billing has been, we had a couple of hiccups at the beginning, but I think it's leveled out. And so now the next thing we'll have is, of course, pushing out the app for people to be able to grab. We also had an auction this past month. So we've been having auctions on equipment that we've had sitting at the yard, in the public works yard. To date, we have sold approximately $200,000 worth of equipment. So we've auctioned it off and then we received $200,000 basically on everything that we have that was just sitting there. So we've cleaned out the Public Works yard. If you've not seen it, I would tell you to go by there because we're pretty proud of how clean it is now. Don't forget that in, I believe March the 5th and 6th is the TML Mid-Year Conference. If you're interested in attending that, that's gonna be in Sugar Land. So just let Diana know, we can get you scheduled for that. Also, beginning January 14th to February 13th is a sign-up period for those interested in the election, which will be held on Saturday, May the 2nd. This year, the positions that are up for election will be the mayor position, District 4 and District 5. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Judy?
I want to thank all the employees that went out and helped and worked for the elf run. We had a pretty good turnout, I thought, and had lots of fun. So, and we had a lot of workers out there making sure that all of the runners and stuff were safe and the walkers. And I thought it turned out really good.
Anything else? Ma'am, great.
I'm proud of the guys and girls that we have with us working and in the streets and the water department and replacing 3,000 meters. I mean, that's something that's been done a long time ago, I'm sure. But just proud of what y'all are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Green?
I just had a question about, are we still hosting the TML in January? January or February? February 20th.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, we'll be hosting, I don't know if we have the actual date yet, but we will be hosting the TML.
It'll be Friday, February the 20th.
Oh, that's right, Friday, February 20th. It is the Friday before Super Bowl, right?
No.
Right.
Super Bowl is the first weekend in February, then it's Valentine's Day, and then we're having our.
Oh. So it's a Friday before nothing.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah,
But it's gonna be a Hermit, Texas holdout. So, yeah, it's gonna be pretty neat.
And then in March, we will be hosting the West Texas City Manager Association meeting here in Kermit.
And other than that, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Everybody be safe. If you travel, be safe as well.
Thank you. Ms. Kelsey?
I just want to say thanks to all the city employees for all the work you guys did for the parade. Turned out super great, and the event here was great, tree lighting. I would like for us to add to the agenda next month to discuss where we can put the trailer that's parked over here
Yes.
at the fire department. I know where the consensus of the council was to spread them around town, but that's been months, and I think we need to find a home for it.
You want to give
Also-
her the update on the home real quick? Yeah.
I can.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that home that we have back here, after the first of the year, we'll start putting on that property across from the hospital.
Okay, fantastic.
So if you wanna
Sorry to
have this or
interrupt you.
not.
No, if that's, if we have, when is that gonna happen?
It'll start in January. They've got to lay the work day. You got to do the dirt work. We got to do the plumbing, electrical, all that type of stuff. But it'll start in January, hopefully within a month. It'll be set and ready to move in. Then we just got to put the fence and all that type of stuff. But hopefully,
One's all that'll go
we
there.
only have one right now.
I mean, but
Okay.
in that lot.
Yeah.
Right, only one to go on that lot. So that's what'll happen. And there is, which I'll bring back to you. I hope you don't mind me saying, there's a need for more.
I was gonna ask too, where are we at on how our current, because we have 4 and on yours,
That we have
5. Are they all
5.
full?
and- Yes, they will be all full and I still have a need for about 3 more.
Okay.
So police officers that we have brought back are interested in housing as well. So, but that'll be a conversation I want to have in January.
And is it just police department that's in the housing, or do we have other city employees?
Right now, we have police department. I've got one that's in the water department that we're hoping to become the police. And then I've got one animal control.
Well, we did open that up at one point because we didn't have officers applying and we had the houses sitting there. So we did open that up at one point.
Right.
Right,
Now
I
I've got
just didn't know
officers.
where we stood.
Yes, that's it. Yes, ma'am.
And I wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Rodney?
Okay, first of all, I've heard a lot of compliments on the elf run. So that was, I know, put that all together, they did a fantastic job.
That was Gabby.
Huh?
That was Gabby.
This guy.
Yeah.
Well, Gabby and Greg, Luana, and Emmy were all involved in that.
I haven't heard any complaints.
Oh, Sarah Lee, can't forget Sarah Lee, sorry.
The ones that I've talked to that participated had a great time. And then I want to thank Charlie. I thought the float we did for the
Yes.
council
Oh,
was a nice addition. It was Judy's idea. Went together and was a lot, we had a lot of fun putting that together. And anyway, and the parade was awesome. I appreciate our new vehicles in the parade. I mean, a lot of people don't say anything pretty out of the garbage truck, but I did. I mean, considering the heck we've gone through with getting those. I want to commend PD. I had an incident happen with some stolen checks, and from what I understand, the case has been resolved and everything. So that was great. And whoever planned the Deal Year's Day, I had a fantastic time at the little Christmas get together. So I appreciate everything that the executive staff with the city, as well as all of the employees and the supervisors have done for us over the last year, and continues in 2026.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, and thank y'all for getting the lots on the corner of Avenue B in Austin and C in Austin cleaned up.
Look good.
Yeah.
I've had more people say, what happened? And I said, well, we really aggravated one person, but I said they have got them cleaned up. And those lots have not been cleaned up in over 5 years.
Yes.
So I want to commend whoever was responsible for that.
So in closing, we have some Christmas cards from the Permian Strategic Partnership, which is all the major oil companies and gas companies that are involved. I don't see Judy's company on here, but that's all right. The Odessa City Council, Mayor and City Council all wish us a happy holiday season and a new year of prosperity, as well as Mr. Oscar Munoz, Superintendent of Schools, Kermit School District. So thank them for extending those wishes to us. I asked Mike today earlier, for sometime in January to try to get together a brag sheet, basically, of what's been accomplished since 2025, the start of 2025. He's already got that in work, so he's gonna add to that and get it compiled for us for sometime in January. That way we'll be prepared for our brag session at TML.
That's right.
But as everybody said, it's a compliment to all of y'all for your hard work, dedication, council for being forward thinking and all that. We've got some big decisions coming up in January for us. And I just want y'all to stay focused on that. And that's all I have. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And that's all I got on the agenda, except for one more thing.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
A second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 7:53 PM.